As you sit back and listen, have you ever pondered the line that separates the living from the dead? Or considered the stories that bind us all through fear and fascination? In this episode of Stories Philippines podcast, we delve into the shadows, exploring tales of the paranormal that reveal much about the culture and spirit of the Philippines. These aren't just ghost stories, they are narratives steeped in history, emotion, and the mysteries that continue to haunt the human soul. My name is Alex, and you're listening to Stories Philippines podcast. It's fascinating how these stories, passed down through generations, become intertwined with our cultural identity. They reflect our beliefs, our fears, and our understanding of the world beyond our senses. Our journey begins with a story that takes us far beyond the familiar landscapes into a realm that seems both real and unreal. Imagine, if you will, a young woman named Liza Lopez, a frequent forum user who became part of a story that would baffle and intrigue many. Her tale began one summer evening as she boarded a train in Cavite, intending nothing more than a routine trip. The train bustled with the usual sounds, the chattering of passengers, the rhythmic clack of wheels on tracks, yet something felt subtly off to Liza, an intangible whisper in the air. As the train chugged along, Liza noticed with growing unease that it skipped her stop entirely, continuing into unknown territory. This sense of displacement, of being removed from the familiar, is a common theme in many paranormal experiences. It's as if the individual is being pulled into another reality, a place where the rules of our world no longer apply. Listeners, imagine that feeling where every familiar landmark fades away, leaving only uncertainty. When the train finally halted, it was at a station unlike any she had seen, a place unnamed, even by the all-knowing Google Maps. The platform was eerily silent, devoid of life, surrounded by an ominous emptiness that seemed to consume all sound. Liza stepped off, her heart pounding, a mix of curiosity and fear holding her in place. She reached for her phone, a lifeline to the outside world, only to watch helplessly as the battery icon blinked its warning. In the distance, a car approached, its headlights cutting through the darkness like eyes tracing her every move. The stranger in the vehicle offered Liza a ride, his demeanor simultaneously reassuring and unsettling. What would you do in her position? Alone in an unfamiliar place, with no visible avenue of escape, Liza chose to accept the ride, hoping to regain her bearings. This is where the story taps into our primal fears, the fear of the unknown, the fear of isolation, and the fear of trusting the wrong person. As they drove through desolate roads, conversations took an odd turn. The stranger spoke cryptically of mountain destinations, paths less traveled, coaxing Liza further into anxiety. Her forum posts, once frequent and clear, became disjointed, her distress palpable through the digital ether. "I don't know where he's taking me," she typed, her words barely visible in the gathering dark. Then, silence. Liza's disappearance became a modern enigma, her story echoing eerily similar to that of the legendary Kisaragi Station, a station of folklore known for its spectral passengers and mysterious jaunts into the supernatural. Despite extensive searches, no trace of her or the station was ever found. The Kisaragi Station legend originated in Japan, spreading through online forums and becoming a modern-day urban legend. It speaks to our fascination with liminal spaces and the possibility of other dimensions existing alongside our own. Liza's story, like the Kisaragi Station legend, blurs the lines between the real and the virtual. It reminds us that the internet, while connecting us in many ways, can also be a place of mystery and potential danger. This tale challenges our perception of reality, blending the tangible with the ethereal. It leaves us with questions, inviting us to ponder the boundaries of our world and what lies beyond. Could there be places that exist outside our realm, waiting to draw the unwary into their midst? Shift your gaze to the familiar confines of a modern office in Quezon City, where the mundane mingles with the otherworldly. Picture a diligent worker, Rita Torres, whose commitment often found her alone in the fluorescent glow of late nights. On one such night, the silence was broken, not by the tap of keys or the shuffle of papers, but by something altogether unsettling. Muffled cries, echoing down the deserted corridors, caught Rita's attention. At first, she dismissed them as the remnants of an overactive imagination, yet the cries persisted, growing louder, more insistent. Driven by curiosity and a touch of fear, she ventured toward the source, finding only empty spaces illuminated by the flickering lights. What would you do in such a scenario, listeners? The revelation of the office's past, a place where a former employee had succumbed to despair, seemed to reach out from beyond the grave. The air grew colder. A presence both palpable and invisible hovered near her desk, brushing against her skin like an ethereal whisper. This story highlights the power of place and the residual energy that can linger in locations where significant events, especially traumatic ones, have occurred. Other employees, drawn by the tales, began sharing their own experiences. A cold spot that traveled the office like a restless spirit, shadows darting across the walls, the unmistakable feeling of being watched. The phenomenon seemed to validate the cultural notion of Gaba, a spiritual force acknowledged in the Philippines, which connects the living with the deceased. The concept of Gaba is deeply rooted in Filipino folklore. It represents a spiritual presence or energy that can be both benevolent and malevolent. This belief underscores the interconnectedness between the living and the departed in Filipino culture. This story serves as a poignant reminder, listeners, to respect the unseen, to recognize that some spaces carry with them the echoes of past lives and the weight of unresolved emotions. The office, once a place of routine and deadlines, became a setting for introspection, urging those within to reassess the boundaries between the seen and the unseen. From bustling offices, we transition to a place of academia where the weight of history presses upon its present. University campuses in the Philippines are much more than mere institutions of learning. They are repositories of memories, where whispers of the past linger in the halls and shadows. One such tale comes from the University of Santo Tomas in Manila, where the air itself seems to vibrate with stories untold. Maria Ramos, an ardent student, frequently found herself ensconced in the university's ancient library. Here, beneath the vaulted ceilings and among the dust-laden tomes, she heard whispers, soft, indistinct murmurs that brushed past her ears like the rustle of pages. Were they figments of her imagination, or echoes of knowledge long forgotten? The university, with its history stretching back centuries, held tightly to its secrets. As Maria explored further, she felt the chill of the past, especially near the fire escape, a place notorious for unexplained phenomena. Libraries, with their vast collections of stories and knowledge, seem particularly susceptible to holding on to the past. It's as if the very words on the pages can conjure up spirits and memories. Her classmate, Jorge, had a chilling encounter of his own. While studying one moonlit night in a secluded courtyard, he witnessed a spectral figure drifting across the cobblestones. Dressed in vintage student attire, the apparition seemed to belong to another era. Jorge watched, entranced and terrified, as the figure vanished into the shadows, leaving behind a profound sense of melancholy. The University of Santo Tomas, founded in 1611, is one of the oldest existing universities in Asia. It has witnessed countless historical events, including wars and revolutions, which may contribute to its rich tapestry of ghost stories. Listeners, have you ever felt the weight of history in a place? These stories highlight how folklore breathes life into the present, creating spaces where the past and present coexist. The university, with its storied legacy, becomes a haunted testament to those who walked its halls before, reminding us that tales of old remain interwoven with the fabric of our lives. From public spaces, we turn to the private sanctum of home, where familiarity should reign supreme, yet sometimes harbors the most personal hauntings. For one listener, Carla Gatchalian, her childhood home in the bustling city of Cebu became a stage for the inexplicable. It began subtly, objects shifting from their usual places, shadows flickering at the edge of her vision, a growing sense of unease that clung to the air. As time wore on, Carla began experiencing vivid dreams, a recurring nightmare featuring a shadowy figure watching her from the corner of her bedroom. Have you ever felt a presence while alone, an unseen observer just out of sight? For Carla, the dreams were unnerving, yet somehow familiar. She recalled her grandmother's stories, tales whispered with a knowing nod, of similar hauntings during her tenure in the same home. It seemed the house itself held onto memories, passing them down through generations as if preserving a legacy. Houses, especially older ones, often become repositories of family history and emotions. It's not surprising that some people believe these energies can manifest as paranormal activity. In a culture rich with tradition, Carla's family turned to a Bababalan, a healer, whose rituals sought to cleanse the home and soothe the restless spirits within. They believed in the delicate balance between the seen and unseen, and the need to respect both. Babalan are shamans or spiritual leaders in many indigenous Filipino communities. They play a crucial role in connecting with the spirit world, performing healing rituals and maintaining balance within the community. The role of the Babalan in addressing paranormal phenomena highlights the deep spiritual beliefs that are interwoven with Filipino culture. It shows a respect for the unseen and a desire to coexist peacefully with the spirit world. This story illustrates the tapestry of familial lore, a connection that transcends time, bridging the gap between generations. It serves as a reminder, listeners, that our homes are reservoirs of history, imbued with the energies of those who have walked before us. Our exploration would be incomplete without venturing into one of the most emotionally charged locales, the hospital. Here, the air is thick with the duality of life and death, a place where joy and sorrow mingle in the corridors, where the supernatural feels tantalizingly close. Benji, a seasoned night nurse at Makati Medical Center, recounts an unforgettable encounter. Imagine walking through the dimly lit halls on a quiet night shift, when the isolated sounds amplify and every shadow takes on a life of its own. There, Benji saw what he thought was a patient sitting quietly in the hallway. Approaching to offer assistance, he watched in disbelief as the patient vanished, as if swallowed by the shadows. Checking the records, Benji learned that the patient had passed away several days prior. The encounter left him both shaken and contemplative. Listeners, have you ever felt accompanied by an unseen presence, or stumbled upon an inexplicable event? For Benji and many others in similar professions, such encounters are more than mere anomalies. They suggest a world where life and death coexist, a thin veil separating them, easily pierced by emotion and circumstance. Hospitals are liminal spaces, places where the boundaries between life and death are blurred. It's understandable why so many paranormal experiences are reported in these environments. In the Philippines, such experiences are often accepted as part of the natural order. The spirits of the departed are believed to linger, drawn back to places of emotional significance. Hospitals, teeming with the complexities of the human experience, become thresholds where the afterlife brushes against our own. In Filipino folklore, the spirits of the recently deceased are believed to wander for 40 days before moving on to the afterlife. This period is known as Kaluluwa, and it's customary to offer prayers and light candles for the departed during this time. This narrative invites us to reflect on the mysteries of existence, the stories that bridge the gap between life and death, and the unending quest for understanding in the face of the unknown. Our final tale delves into phenomena that challenge our very sense of self, shadow people, and doppelgangers. These figures, whether lurking at the edge of vision or mirroring our every move, inspire a deep-seated fear that transcends cultural boundaries. Consider Donnie Castillo, a young resident of Davao, who often found himself accompanied by an ominous shadowy figure in his basement. The figure lingered at the periphery of his vision, an observer rather than an intruder, its silent presence unnerving. Donnie questioned his sanity, wondering whether it was a trick of light or something more sinister. Listeners, have shadows ever seemed to move with intent, watching from the edges of light? These shadow figures, reported across cultures, embody the unknown, a void that absorbs light and certainty. They reflect our deepest fears, our vulnerabilities exposed in moments of solitude. Shadow people tap into our fear of the unseen, the lurking presence that we can't quite define or understand. They represent the darkness that exists within ourselves and in the world around us. Even more disconcerting are tales of doppelgangers, like that of Ella Salvador, a young woman from Iloilo. Walking home one night, she encountered what appeared to be an exact likeness of herself ahead on the path. As she approached, filled with a mix of dread and disbelief, the figure evaporated like mist. In Filipino culture, such encounters are steeped in foreboding, often seen as harbingers of ill fate. The doppelganger represents a fracture in the world, a crack where reality and the supernatural intertwine. These stories force us to confront the boundaries of identity, the essence of who we are. In some Filipino beliefs, encountering your doppelganger is a sign of impending death or misfortune. It's a chilling reminder of our mortality and the fragility of our existence. Doppelgangers raise profound questions about our sense of self and the nature of reality. They challenge our understanding of what it means to be unique and individual. Listeners, these narratives invite us to embrace the unknown, to look beyond the immediate, and to ponder the mysteries that envelop our lives. They remind us that the world is filled with questions yet to be answered, paths yet unexplored. Before we plunge into today's chilling tales, I warmly invite you to follow Stories Philippines podcast and share it with your friends, family, and those colleagues who thrive on spine-tingling stories. Each episode brims with suspense and intrigue, perfect for keeping you engaged whether you're commuting, working out, or relaxing at home. Sharing our podcast helps us grow our community, spreading the love of storytelling to others who appreciate a good scare. And remember, if you've experienced something extraordinary or know someone with an incredible tale, we want to hear it. Your unique stories enrich our podcast and create a tapestry of diverse experiences. Reach out to us through the links in the show notes. We're eager to hear from you and maybe feature your story in a future episode. Thank you for being such an integral part of our storytelling adventure. Now, let's dive back into the mysteries awaiting us. No exploration of Filipino paranormal lore would be complete without mentioning the iconic White Lady of Balete Drive. This spectral figure, dressed in a flowing white gown, has haunted the imaginations of Filipinos for generations. Balete Drive, located in Quezon City, is a historic road lined with balete trees, which are considered sacred in Filipino folklore. The legend of the White Lady is believed to have originated in the 1950s, and it has since become a staple of Filipino horror stories. Numerous accounts describe encountering a beautiful woman in white, often hitchhiking or seeking help, who then reveals her ghostly form, causing terror and sometimes even accidents. Some believe she is the spirit of a young woman who died in a car accident on the drive, while others say she is a victim of a crime seeking justice. The White Lady of Balete Drive embodies the classic ghost story archetype, a restless spirit tied to a specific location, often seeking resolution or revenge. Her story taps into our fears of the unknown and the dangers that lurk in the darkness. The enduring popularity of the White Lady legend speaks to the power of storytelling and the human fascination with the supernatural. It has been featured in numerous films, television shows, and books, cementing its place in Filipino pop culture. Venturing deeper into Filipino folklore, we encounter the Manananggal, a creature that embodies both horror and fascination. This monstrous being, often depicted as a woman who can detach her upper body and sprout bat wings, is said to prey on unsuspecting victims, particularly pregnant women. The Manananggal is a popular figure in Filipino folklore, with variations of the legend appearing in different regions of the country. It is often associated with darkness, blood, and the vulnerability of women. The Manananggal, with its grotesque appearance and predatory nature, represents the dark side of Filipino folklore. It embodies our fears of the monstrous and the unknown, and serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers that lurk in the shadows. Stories of the Manananggal are often told to children as a way to instill fear and obedience. But these tales also serve as a reminder of the importance of community and the need to protect one another from harm. From the terrifying Manananggal, we turn to a more ambiguous creature, the Tikbalang. This mythical being, often depicted as a tall, humanoid creature with the head of a horse, is said to inhabit the forests and mountains of the Philippines. The Tikbalang is a complex figure in Filipino folklore, often portrayed as both mischievous and dangerous. It is believed to guard the forests and mountains, and can lead travelers astray or play tricks on them. The Tikbalang represents the wild, untamed aspects of nature. It embodies the power and mystery of the natural world, and serves as a reminder of the importance of respecting the environment. Encounters with the Tikbalang are often associated with getting lost or disoriented in the wilderness. Some say that the Tikbalang can even make people experience hallucinations or see things that aren't really there. The Tikbalang, with its ability to confuse and mislead, serves as a metaphor for the uncertainties and challenges we face in life. It reminds us to stay vigilant and trust our instincts, especially when venturing into the unknown. Moving beyond individual creatures, we delve into the concept of the Encanto, a place believed to be imbued with magic and mystery. These enchanted locations are often found in natural settings such as forests, caves, or mountains, and are said to be inhabited by supernatural beings or possess unique powers. The belief in Encantos is widespread in the Philippines, with different regions having their own unique stories and traditions associated with these enchanted places. They are often seen as sacred grounds, and it is important to show respect when entering them. The concept of the Encanto reflects the deep connection between Filipinos and the natural world. It highlights the belief that nature is not just a physical space, but also a spiritual realm inhabited by unseen forces. Stories of Encantos often involve people getting lost or encountering strange creatures within these enchanted places. These tales serve as cautionary reminders to be mindful of our surroundings and to respect the unseen forces that may exist in the natural world. Another fascinating creature from Filipino folklore is the Capri, a giant, hairy creature often depicted smoking a large cigar and dwelling in trees, particularly belated trees. The Capri is often portrayed as a solitary creature, more mischievous than malevolent. It is said to play tricks on people, such as leading them astray or making objects disappear. The Capri, despite its imposing size and appearance, is often seen as a benevolent figure in Filipino folklore. It represents the power and mystery of nature and serves as a reminder of the importance of coexisting with the natural world. While the Capri may frighten those who encounter it, it is generally not considered harmful. In fact, some stories even depict the Capri as being helpful to humans, offering guidance or protection. Shifting our focus from the giants of the forests to the smaller beings that inhabit our homes, we encounter the Duwende, mischievous spirits that are believed to reside in anthills or under the ground. Duwende are a common feature in Filipino folklore and are often associated with specific locations within the home, such as the kitchen or the backyard. They are believed to be easily offended, and it is important to show them respect. The belief in Duwende highlights the Filipino understanding of the interconnectedness between humans and the spirit world. It emphasizes the importance of respecting all living things, even those that are unseen. Stories of Duwende often involve them playing pranks on people or causing minor misfortunes. However, they are also believed to be capable of bringing good luck and prosperity to those who treat them with respect. Returning to the realm of the terrifying, we encounter the Aswang, a shape-shifting creature that is said to prey on humans, particularly children. The Aswang is a complex figure in Filipino folklore, with different variations of the legend appearing in different regions of the country. It is often associated with darkness, blood, and the fear of the unknown. The Aswang, with its ability to transform and deceive, represents the fear of the unfamiliar and the dangers that lurk beneath the surface. It serves as a reminder to be cautious and vigilant, especially in unfamiliar surroundings. Stories of Aswang often involve them taking on the form of animals or humans to lure their victims. These tales serve as cautionary warnings about the importance of community and the need to protect one another from harm. As we conclude this exploration of Filipino paranormal stories, it's important to recognize the significance of these tales beyond their entertainment value. They offer a glimpse into the rich cultural heritage of the Philippines, reflecting the beliefs, values, and fears of its people. Filipino paranormal lore is not just a collection of scary stories. It is a reflection of the Filipino worldview, shaped by history, environment, and spiritual beliefs. These stories serve as a way to transmit cultural knowledge and values from one generation to the next. They teach us about the importance of respecting nature, honoring our ancestors, and living in harmony with the unseen world. By understanding these stories, we gain a deeper appreciation for the Filipino culture and its unique perspective on the world. We learn to appreciate the interconnectedness between the physical and spiritual realms and the importance of maintaining balance between the two. Listeners, these narratives invite us to embrace the unknown, to look beyond the immediate, and to ponder the mysteries that envelop our lives. They remind us that the world is filled with questions yet to be answered, paths yet unexplored. As we conclude this exploration of Filipino paranormal stories, let us reflect on the insights these tales offer. They call us to respect the unseen, to honor the legacies of those who came before, and to remain open to the wonders and mysteries that life presents. The stories we share are more than entertainment. They are a part of our collective consciousness, a tapestry woven through time. Before we part, I invite each of you, valued listeners, to share your own stories. Whether they are tales of wonder, fear, or the uncanny, your experiences enrich our community and keep the spirit of storytelling alive. Please submit your stories for future episodes, and if you feel inspired to support our podcast, check the links in our show notes. Your contributions help us continue bringing you these captivating tales, and we appreciate every bit of support. Thank you for joining me today. This is Alex, your host, reminding you to keep an open heart and an open mind as we continue to explore the intersections of reality and the supernatural. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and keep listening.